whether you're taking a walk in your city's nature trails or you're deep in the backcountry, what you carry matters. Today on Half-Cocked Hilbilly, I want to go through my hiking / wilderness carry rotation with the bullets that I use and why I carry them. First thing you want to do when you carry a gun is identify your potential threats. If you're in a city, town, or a highly trafficked hiking area, you're probably really only going to worry about two-legged predators, which just the presence of a gun can de-escalate your threat. However, if you're in an area where you might not only have to deal with two-legged predators, but also larger four-legged predators, you might want to choose a little bit different. Today we're not talking about hunting, we are talking about defending ourselves. Those topics are completely different. I live in the state of Virginia, so I'm going to hike Virginia as well as the surrounding states, and really the biggest thing that I'm going to come up against is a black bear, which black bears at the low end weigh about 90 pounds and at the high end weigh about 400 pounds. A quick Google search, and if you read the hunting forums, will show you that they require about 1,000 foot-pounds of energy to ethically harvest, which is the same as a white-tailed deer. Like I said earlier, we're not trying to hunt a black bear. This is only in the last case if you get charged and you have to defend yourself. Now, before we get into the guns and the ammunition that I carry, we're going to look at a couple different types. So if I'm looking at more of defense against the two-legged predators, or maybe something on the smaller end of wildlife like mountain lion or coyote, or heaven forbid, an aggressive dog, a hollow point will serve you well. On larger animals such as a black bear, you really want to go for penetration. The bullets that'll give you the best results are going to be a hard cast or a monolithic copper bullet. With these types of rounds, shot placement is key. They're going to hit really hard, but they're also going to pass straight through. So this is really for punching through that thick hide, muscle, and bone to get to the engine room or brain cavity. All right, now that we've got that out of the way, let's move on to some of my guns. The gun that I've probably talked about most on the channel is my P365. And that's because it's one of my favorites. I carry it almost every day, and this is one of the very few times that it's not loaded. This would be my choice for carry either around town, in a city or town park, or maybe if hiking trail was very highly trafficked. My preferred carry ammunition is this 124 grain Spear Gold jacketed hollow point. That's going to be going about 1,150 feet per second, and it's going to hit with about 360 foot-pounds of energy. Which, once again, that is a jacketed hollow point. So once it hits a target, it's not going to penetrate as deep, but it's going to dump more energy. Buffalo bore is the industry standard for dangerous game ammunition. And they do have an outdoorsman line for common calibers such as 9mm, 40, and 45. So the Buffalo bore outdoorsman, which actually was famously used to take a charging grizzly bear, is 147 grain hard cast, and it's moving at 1,175 feet per second, and it's going to be hitting with 450.8 foot-pounds of energy, which if you put that pill in the right spot, it's going to hit the off button on just about anything. If you're able to listen or watch the boys over at the Vortex Nation podcast, they did an excellent video on 9mm and 10mm versus a bear, which you'll see that 9mm punches straight through that bear skull. If you're against a smaller threat such as a black bear, or even, once again, two-legged predators, it'll definitely do the job. This is a smaller gun, so it is harder to control, especially with a higher recoil round. But like I've shown before, I'm pretty proficient with it. And if I had to use this in a pinch, I could. But if I had my choice, this wouldn't be my primary woods carry gun. Next is kind of my medium-duty carry gun. This is my Kimber Pro TLE RL2 chambered in 45 ACP. It's a steel frame 1911 with a commander length slide and barrel. And I mainly carry this if I'm a little more off the beaten path and I might encounter predators and potentially weirdos on the trail. I feel that it kind of bridges the gap between something like a 9mm and or a high power revolver such as a 357 Magnum. The current load that I use is a Federal 230 grain jacketed hollow point, and that's going to be going about 890 feet per second, and it's going to hit with about 404 foot-pounds of energy. Now, if I were to step this up to Buffalo bore outdoorsman, you're looking at a 255 grain hard cast, and that's going to be traveling at 925 feet per second, and it's going to be hitting with 484 foot-pounds of energy. So a pretty good step up with a lot more penetration power. Another thing that I like about this gun is it has this handy Picatinny rail. The holsters that I have don't have room for a light, And quite honestly, I don't really need the weapon light while I'm hiking around. Usually I'm only moving in daylight. What is nice is I can stow my Streamlight TLR-1S in my bag, and at night I can attach it to my gun and leave it in an easily accessible place in my tent. Now, what I will say is I do not have children. The people I hike and camp with don't have children, and all of us have guns and are trained with guns. If you have kids or someone that does not know what they're doing, I would highly recommend being in control of your weapon at all times, i.e., don't put it next to you while you're asleep. And finally, for my true backcountry, I have my Smith & Wesson 657 chambered in .41 Magnum. This revolver is an absolute beast, and it does really well at sending heavy pills downrange. It has an awesome sight radius. The trigger, double and single action, is fantastic, and the heavy end frame handles recoil well. You can get a variety of loads in the .41 Magnum from about 170 grains to 265 grains. However, when I'm carrying the backcountry, I usually err on the side of weight. The current load I run in this is the HSM Bear load. It's the 230 grain hard cast. It's going about 1,300 feet per second, which will deliver 863 foot-pounds of muzzle energy. My personal favorite load for this is the Grizzly 265 grain semi-wad cutter hard cast. That bullet also going about 1,300 feet per second, but it's going to hit with 1,072 foot-pounds of energy, which, according to legalities and hunting forums, is enough to ethically harvest large game such as a black bear or a deer. The recoil difference is pretty minimal. You're going to lose, you're not going to rapid fire this gun, you're going to lose your sight picture. For my honorable mention today is going to be my Glock 23 chambered in .40 Smith & Wesson. If I had to use this to defend myself with what I have on hand, I have the 180 grain S&B jacketed hollow point. That's going around 1,050 feet per second, and it's hitting with about 440 foot-pounds of energy. If I were to use the Buffalo Bore Outdoorsman loads, I'd be getting a 200 grain hard cast bullet going 1,100 feet per second, and it's going to be hitting with about 537 foot-pounds of energy. That is definitely no slouch. Getting close to 10 millimeter, and it's really putting, according to my charts, better numbers than the 45. I do know that there is some issues with hard cast bullets and Glock's polygonal rifling, but I definitely want to check it out, and I'd love to revisit it in a future video for you guys and myself. It's fun mag dumping in the trash. Now let's kind of talk about how to carry these guns. The primary way I carry is going to be inside the waistband, and the holsters that I use for that is going to be the Alien gear. And the holster that I use for that is Alien gear. I've carried my guns in Alien gear holsters for 8 years now, and I absolutely love them. So this is my Cloak Tuck 3.5. This is what I carry my 1911 in, and combined with my steel core gun belt, I absolutely adore this holster. It's very comfortable. While it is kind of big, it is very breathable, and it carries my Kimber with ease. This actually wasn't the original one I bought. Originally, I had the Cloak Tuck 3.0. Once they came out with the Cloak Tuck 3.5, Alien Gear just let me send my 3.0 back, and then I just paid the difference in holsters, and they sent me this. What I also love about Alien Gear holsters is they have a fantastic warranty. Now, my 1911 has seen better days. This was my first carry gun. I brought it everywhere with me. I brought it up and down mountains, backpacking trips. My university let me conceal carry, so it went to all my classes with me. It went to work, and it even went in my gym bag. Moral of the story is, it went everywhere with me. So did this holster, and I beat the snot out of it. And I did have a clip break, but Alien Gear sent me a new one promptly. I love their customer service. I love their holsters. I'm not sponsored by them, which Alien Gear, if you like my stuff, please sponsor me. Once I got my P365, I got their Shapeshift 4.0. This is also in the inside the waistband configuration. I've had zero problems with it, and it is their Shapeshift model. So if I did want to change my holster setup, I could. This holster now goes everywhere with me, just like my 365. Go get an Alien Gear. One of my other passions in life is leatherwork. I've actually made my own holsters. This one's for my Kimber. If I'm kind of going more backcountry and I'm not going to be around a lot of people, I'll use this. I made this. This is between an 8 and 10 pound saddle grade leather. Stitched it, stained it, and made my own pattern. I really love the way it looks. These will last you a lifetime if you take care of them. And I just think it looks neat. This was the first holster I made. This is for my 41 Magnum. And it sits really nicely on my waist. I don't like to open carry in high traffic environments. I've never had a problem open carrying this gun in national parks. Most backpackers get it. At the same time, if you're walking around your town's river walk and you're open carrying something like this, it might cause a disturbance. Gun owners are not the only ones that our national parks belong to. Be respectful of others. Don't be an asshole. Last style holster I use is actually this P365 backpack holster from Crossbreed. Crossbreed, also a wonderful holster maker. They have excellent quality. First time I bought one, I got it for my wife's EDC because she refuses to carry on her hip, but if you sneak a gun in her purse, she'll carry it no problem. This is the purse defender, keeps the gun upright and helps eliminate the footprint. It was awesome. So with that, I also went shopping for myself and I got this bag defender from Crossbreed. It's a little bit bigger. It fits in my hiking backpack. I also like that you can take this off and stick it in different places. Sometimes I'll just keep a bonus gun in my bag and that just kind of sits nicely at the bottom of the bag. You know it's there. No one else can see it. If your 41 Magnum were to run dry, you can just reach in and grab this. All right, guys, so a couple final thoughts here. I didn't cover every caliber out there. I only live in Virginia, so Appalachia's fauna is not the largest. If you live somewhere where you have large animals like black bear, moose, elk, just anything that'll kill you that's bigger than about 400 pounds, you might want to consider some different options. 41 Magnum will absolutely do the job. You will see other calibers such as 357 Magnum, 10mm auto, and 454 Casull. And the options go on and on from there. Now guys, just kind of a concerned citizen advice here. Our national parks are just like our Second Amendment. They're a lot easier to lose than they are to get back. Our lands give our country character. They're home to wildlife, beauty, and the kind of solitude you just can't find in a town, city, or somewhere in between. It's really heartbreaking to see what's happening to our planet and to see just more and more open spaces get cut down to put these ugly subdivisions up. So make sure that you enjoy the planet while you can. I'm not saying the end is here, but make sure you cherish our land while you can. Visit our parks, go outside. We have one of the most beautiful countries on the face of the earth. I just want to remind y'all to protect what we have, both our freedom and our wild places. Whether you're carrying a plastic Fantastic, a metal frame auto, or a big bore wheel gun, make sure you get training. Practice with the loads that you're going to use to defend yourself, because your plus P ammo or your Buffalo Bore Outdoorsman ammo is going to act a lot different than your Full Metal Jacket training loads. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Once again, my name is Half-Cocked Hilbilly. Please make sure you like and subscribe, leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear your feedback. I hope you join me next time, guys. I'll see y'all real soon. Thank you.
In my kitty cat. He goes outside, he pees in my plants, and I do not like that. But I love my zoo.